think that there's a possibility that we could be looking at DeBoer wondering if he's the long-term answer at coach for the Tide?
I'm starting to feel like Alabama, I can't believe I'm saying this, Craig, is a sleeper. Fourth easiest schedule in the SEC this year. Ryan Williams is back. I think the friendly, these early season games against Florida State and Wisconsin, that is friendly for Alabama.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
So you're going to have the suck uniforms the entire season, but 3 games will give you with the best uniform. Those are the issues I have. The powder blue's out for the Chargers. That should be every game. The Miami Dolphins old uniforms that they throw it back to, that should be your uniform, not the trash you wear now. The Patriots, you ever see them throw back with a little football player in the helmet? It is beautiful, but let's keep the trash uniform.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Things you have to look at is what the team has the following day, especially when it comes to bullpen usage. A lot of the things I like to attack is you see these extra inning games, these games get drawn out, these bullpens get worn, or if someone gets shelled the first 3 innings and they got to go to the pen, early, that's a good spot to kind of hop in the middle of the next game. You got a tired bullpen, right? You try and take advantage there, maybe with an over, maybe with the money line. You're getting plus money on a favorite at that point.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
His run in Salt Lake is over, but obviously the intimidation of a guy that's been around that long in Gundy and in this guy, if you look at their cases, they're very similar. It's been going on forever, right? And it's time for a change, I think, in Stillwater and in Salt Lake. I got to be honest with you. And believe me, if they lose again, they're going to get rid of him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on
And welcome in. It is In-Game Live Game Day on a marvelous Monday evening. Scott Wetzel, Joe Madden in for Dave Sherapan as we take you for the next 2 glorious hours right up until 10 p.m. Eastern Time, watching, analyzing, betting the world of sports. Yes, we are back. Baseball is back. We got our 5 on the line. Joe and I have SGPs. We got our Black Cloud play of the day, wall-to-wall baseball. And I tell you, nice little series all around Major League Baseball. Joe, we got Boston and Philadelphia, pretty good matchup. You got your Jays hosting the Stankies, big series in the AL East. We got Milwaukee going for its 11th straight win. Can the Dodgers break out of their funk? They host the Minnesota Twinkies later on tonight. So a lot of baseball and hopefully making a couple of shekels along the way. How are you today, Joe?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, like you said, Scott, we've got some great pitching matchups out there. I'm really interested to see how Carlos Rodon and Kevin Gausman do in this matchup between the Yankees and the Toronto Blue Jays. We're already seeing Carlos Rodon with 4 strikeouts and Kevin Gausman with 5. And that makes me nervous, not going to lie, because I did expect both of these pitchers to go under on their strikeouts. We know the Toronto Blue Jays have one of the lowest strikeout rates in the whole league. They've been so disciplined at the plate, but today Rodon's been able to already get 4. So we'll see if he can stay under that total of 5.5, but not looking good for that prop. But you look at some of these other pitching matchups, and I do think we can look at some strong overs for these pitchers.
Yeah, one I wouldn't go over, although it is 3-0. Skeens pitching for Pittsburgh again tonight. He's through 4. They just started the top of the 5th inning. He's only thrown 52 or 53 pitches through 4. If they take him out after 5 tonight, Joe, I did love his over 15.5 out props. I've been getting into those things over the last few weeks. And the way the Tigers have not been hitting, I figured the guy was, and they played last night. They had to fly to Pittsburgh from Texas. Maybe the bats are a little slower tonight, not quite focused. So I'm going to be really disappointed if he doesn't go at least 6 tonight. Forget about the 15.5, which is only 5 1/3 innings. I really did like that. He's on pace to go really 8, if they give him his normal 85 pitches. So, but 3-0 Pittsburgh over the Tigers, who are slumping. They did win last night, but only 2-1. So that was a halfway decent pitching matchup. You got Kirby later on tonight in a pretty good pitching matchup. So, yeah, you're right. We got if I would have played the Grand Salami today, which I did not, I would have played the under. I'm interested to see if the Brewers with Woodruff on the hill can continue their streak. 10 straight wins for Milwaukee coming off the sweep of the Dodgers. You would think they would be able to beat Seattle, right? If they could beat the Dodgers 3 in a row, right? Would that make sense?
You would think so, right? But is this a letdown spot after coming off such a strong game versus the Dodgers? Looking at their 10 straight wins, 6 of those have been versus the Dodgers. So interesting to see how they do tonight with George Kirby going for Seattle. I do think that's one where we can look at a combined strikeout prop for both of those pitchers. But I hear you on Paul Skeens. I stayed off of the Paul Skeen props today, as well as Zach Wheeler's props for the Phillies. I looked at their strikeout props, Scott, and they just looked way too high for my liking. I didn't want anything to do with them.
Yeah, that's why I went with Skeens with the outs. I figured 15 and a half. I mean, he's got to pitch more than 5 innings tonight. I guess, again, especially against the Tigers who have not been hitting. So I figured his pitch count was low. So it's going towards the plan, but let's just see if Pittsburgh gets that conservative and they yank him after 5, regardless of his pitch count. I wouldn't think so. Ohtani's on the hill. He's supposed to go at least 3 tonight for the Dodgers. That's the plan anyway, so we'll see about that. So we got a lot to look at over the next 2 hours. We got George Kurtz coming up in about a half hour. We got Adam Kaufman coming up in about an hour, and then we'll close up shop at Cam Stewart as we always do. So full slate of baseball, wall to wall, over the next 2 hours, including, Joe, our 5 on the line. 5 best trends for this Monday, July 21st. How about that? All right, none of these games have gotten underway. Old Cubs in Kansas City throwing the first pitch right now. So let's hop right to it. We go from 5 down to the very best trend. We'll start with Seattle and Milwaukee. Seattle very quietly 8-1 over their last 9 games. So forget about who's pitching. I know it's a pretty good pitching matchup, but let's go over 7, Milwaukee and Seattle, and hopefully the Mariners can make it 9-1 over. Next up, Cubs in Kansas City, just getting underway. Cubbies 20-7 at home. Kansas City mediocre home and on the road, not particularly good either way. Let's take the Cubs minus the 152, surprisingly low number with Chicago going one of those bullpen by committee type of games, but we throw that stuff out the window. It's basically just trends, and trends say Cubs aren't going to lose at home. So Cubbies minus the 152. Trend number 3, Texas. We've given this out a number of times, and we'll hop right on it, especially Texas at home. You see it there, 34-14 under at home. The number 1 under team at home in all of baseball. Go figure it out. Don't fight it at this point, right? Under 8.5 A's at Texas. Number 2 on our countdown. On the other side of the coin, Arizona Diamondbacks on a major overrun, 22-8 over their last 30 games. Let's go over 9. It's a decent number, but you know what? They're begging to take the unders, so maybe that's a good reason why we should go the other way. Over 9, Houston and Arizona as our number 2 trend play of the day. And that leaves us with only one, the coup de grace, creme de la creme, numero uno trend for tonight. That is Milwaukee Brewers, right? It's got to be. They have won 10 straight games. They start a new series in Seattle against the Mariners. Pretty good team, Seattle, but you can't beat 10 in a row. Don't think it's going to end. It's going to eventually, but don't try and figure out when. So number 1 trend play tonight, Joe, Milwaukee plus odds, plus 102, 103, 104 in that range, depending on where you do your shopping at Seattle. What do you think? Can't hear you, Joe. Yep.
I apologize. We got thunder rolling through, so I've been trying to mute myself, you guys, because those booms have been really big. Didn't want to disturb your 5 on the line, but I love where you're going, especially those top 2. You look at the Milwaukee Brewers, and we were able to make plus money on them all weekend long versus the Dodgers, with everyone expecting the Dodgers to bounce back. And I know this is going to be a hard one for them. against the Seattle Mariners with George Kirby getting the start, but Brandon Woodruff has been so strong out there. He's coming off a game which he was able to put up 10 strikeouts. I believe it was versus the Washington Nationals where he came out so strong. And if you hear that thunder, hopefully that is not a bad sign for my bet here with the Milwaukee Brewers. I love it today, and I love where you're going with your Houston Astros Arizona Diamondbacks game to the over. You've got Zach Gallen coming out for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and he's had his struggles. It's probably one of his worst, if not his worst season ever, Scott. And I just don't think that he's going to be able to limit the bats of the Houston Astros. I think that one flies over that total.
All right, there you go. So hopefully we go at least hopefully at least 3-2, but the goal is to go 4-1, 5-0, and really make some money on that stuff. We're about 70 games over 500 with our trend plays. So to the board we go, Joe. Red Sox just tied up Philadelphia. We'll start there in the AL East versus the NL East. Boston 2-2 with the Phillies. Walker Buehler pitching for Boston. I'm a little surprised that he's held the Phillies to only 2 runs. Sox still batting top of the 6th inning. They have runners on 1st and 3rd. It looks like there is 1 out. Pick 'em for Boston with Wheeler on the hill for the Philadelphia Phillies. The over-under is 7.5, which I tell you, with 1st and 3rd, and I'm seeing 1 out, 7.5. I think we're going to get 4 more runs when everything is said and done between these two teams. I would go over, and I still think Philadelphia is going to find a way to get to Walker Buehler before everything is said and done. So I would go Philadelphia on this one, and I would go over. When we come back, we'll get Joe's thoughts on this and all the other stuff that's going on around Major League Baseball right here on the Grid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rhythm. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Hi, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Joe, hour number one, just getting underway. We gave out the 5 on the line in case you missed them. Always like to recap them, start the second segment. We're going to go over Milwaukee, Seattle 7. Mariners 8-1 over their last 9. We'll take the Cubbies against Kansas City. Cubs 20-7, last 27 home games. We'll grab the under A's Texas. Texas, number 1 under team in all the baseball. We'll go with the over 9 Houston, Arizona. Diamondbacks 22-8 over their last 30 games. And then we'll grab the Milwaukee Brewers getting odds going for their 11th straight win. So keep your fingers crossed on that. We got our SGPs coming up here in a little bit. Joe, when we left, we were talking Red Sox and Phillies. And I put the black cloud on Boston. They had runners on first and third, only one out. Back-to-back strikeouts later, the Red Sox don't score anymore. It's 2-2 as they head down to the bottom of the sixth inning, rather. So Philadelphia and Boston went from pick'em, nobody scores, to Philadelphia. That's why I told you, grab the Phillies, right? Philadelphia's now a 2-1 favorite. Based on 2 outs, the Red Sox not scoring. Red Sox are back to being a monster underdog, plus 154.
Yeah, and the thing is with this, Scott, we saw them being a monster underdog coming into this, but you were able to get the Boston Red Sox for a better price on that run line. You're able to get them plus 1.5 with some juice, but not as much juice as you're laying right now. It's minus 245 plus the 1.5. So when I went into this game, I thought it would be a 1-run game. I grabbed the Boston Red Sox plus 1.5, and it was like right around that minus 140 mark. At this point in the game, I do think we'll see enough runs to push us over the 7.5. It's really enticing with that plus 112, and that's where I would be going. I didn't trust the Phillies to win this by 2 runs. So if you want to lay the 1.5, you're going to get great plus money if you believe in this team. I do think they probably win it on the money line, but I do think the Red Sox end up covering that spread there, Scott.
All right, moment of truth here. We'll let you know in just a couple of moments. They're through 5. Pittsburgh leads Detroit 3-0. Skeens on the hill through 5 has thrown 76 pitches. He struck out 6, and he's allowed just 3 hits. Joe, I again, his over. I didn't look at the strikeouts. What I imagine is what 6.5, 7.5. His outs, the one I played was 15.5 outs. So I needed to pitch the 6th inning, get at least 1 out, and then they can do whatever they want with them. But do you remember what his strikeout total was today?
I believe it was 7.5, highly juiced, but I looked at a couple of those pictures tonight, but I'm pretty sure 7.5, like at minus 150, minus 160 kind of marks.
All right. They have to let 76 pitches, right? I mean, well, I tell you what, this Tiger team, you talk about all teams go through little streaks here, but when they can't hit their way out of a paper bag. They did win last night, but they only scored 2 runs. They scored 1 run the day before that, no runs the day before that. 4 in a loss the day before that. Did score 7 in a loss, but then 3 and 3. So they've scored 4 runs or more. 2 and 2, 2 and 3. 2 out of their last 6 games. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. 2 out of the last 8 games. And there, no shame in being blanked by Paul Skeens tonight, but that's why I thought Skeens would pitch a long time tonight, because this Tiger team's just not hitting the baseball right now. They got the best record in baseball, so there's no concern. But as far as hitting the ball right now, not happening.
Yeah,
Skeens is pitching. Yes, he started the 6th inning. So it looks like we're going to get a 5 1/3, and we might even get the 8 strikeouts if he did go over 8. I wouldn't have done that either, because he's basically a 6 strikeout guy because they take him out so early. So I would not have gone over 7.5 either, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was looking for those combined strikeouts in this matchup, and they just weren't out when I was looking at FanDuel. Now, I did see the combined pop up for the Seattle Mariners and the Milwaukee Brewers after this game had kicked off. So I wonder if they posted those combined numbers really late. And I hopefully, if they did, you guys would have hit on some of them, because Jack Flaherty already with 6 strikeouts. And normally when you're looking at those combined, you're getting, 13 plus, 14 plus strikeouts between 2 pitchers. And Jack Flaherty had a number, I believe, of 5.5. So he was able to go over his strikeouts, and I believe it was plus money, Scott, for him. But yeah, he did a pretty solid job. 3 innings pitched. I know he gave up 3 earned runs, but 6 strikeouts. You got to watch those strikeout numbers that he's able to put up as well.
Yeah, do like those combined strikeouts. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. Your Jays, we'll keep it in the AL East. Jays are trailing the Stanks 1-0, top of the 5th. Stanton with a home run for the only run of the game. Rodon pitching well. He's allowed 3 hits No runs, obviously. 4 walks, 67 pitches through 4. So you wonder how long he's going to be out there. Gausman pitching well. He's allowed just the one, home run. He's got 5 strikeouts through 4 2/3 innings. I like Toronto heading in. I mean, how can't you? They won 10 straight home games, looking for a franchise record, 11 straight home win. Getting plus 158, although it's locked right now. Let's see what the Yankees are batting with a runner on third base. Maybe I'll wait for them to get out of this inning. I know that line will drop, but I did think Toronto was going to win. I still think they're going to win, Joe.
So, as a fan, it's so hard for me to take Toronto, believe in them to continue rolling hot, Scott, especially when how they dominated the Yankees in that last matchup, right? 4 games in that series, they scored, 36 runs on the Yankees and just kept piling them up each and every game. I'm looking at this one to go over the total. Now, we've only got that 1 run so far. So our total has dropped to 5.5. And I do think at some point we're going to see those runs really open up. I played both of these pitchers in this game under on their strikeouts. Kevin Gausman's number at 5.5 was plus 110 to the under. He's been able to put up 5 strikeouts. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed he can stay under there. Carlos Rodon, with how disciplined Toronto's been at the plate, he was a 5.5 as well, but he was juiced to the under at minus 164. I still hit on him there. He's had 3 strikeouts so far. So it looks like he probably will stay under that number. But again, it was so highly juiced. I had to parlay that piece, and I believe I parlayed it with the over in this game, Scott. So long ways to go for that.
All right, I'm going to give out a rare under in a high-scoring game. Washington 8-5 over Cincinnati, Joe, here, top of the 5th inning. They're giving us 18.5. 19 runs, that's a lot. That's 6 more runs. That's a lot of runs. I don't think we're going to get to 19 runs. So I'm going to go under 18.5.
So the Reds aren't coming back is what you're telling me. Because if the Reds come back, we'll probably go over the total.
Yeah, probably, right? Worst, it would be 9-8. That's 17 runs. Yeah. So, I don't think they come back. They played well against the Mets this past weekend, but somehow I think they're going to lose tonight. All right, SGP's coming up next.
There's a possibility that we could be looking at DeBoer wondering if he's the long-term answer at coach for the Tide?
I'm starting to feel like Alabama, I can't believe I'm saying this, Craig, is a sleeper. 4th easiest schedule in the SEC this year. Ryan Williams is back. I think the friendly, these early season games against Florida State and Wisconsin, that is friendly for Alabama.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Sick and tired of seeing tennis players fall to the ground in disbelief, like they captured the Rubik's Cube here. It's take it easy. You won 6-love, 6-2, 6-3. I mean, it's not like it's dramatic. I did that now, did today, but I'm saying, I see that guys do that all the time, and women do that. It's relax. You won in straight sets. It was a foregone conclusion an hour ago. Stop pretending like it was a dramatic victory.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
You are going to bank on Luka Doncic, who is a phenomenal talent, but his defense has been questioned, his work ethic, his time has been questioned, and his conditioning has been questioned. Name me one time in his 23-year career that you've questioned one of those 3 things about LeBron James.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Everybody also is going to know the name Yuri Perez next year because Yuri Perez, obviously in fantasy circles, is a guy that we've been excited about for a while. Burst onto the scene a couple years ago, was electric, was fantastic. Then Tommy John, and we've been waiting for him ever since. And, all of a sudden the last couple starts starting to look like the Yuri Perez that I know I was very excited about drafting going into this season. And he has been brilliant.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. It is in-game live game day here on the grid. Scott and Joe, hour number one. Got a full slate of baseball. That is the subject of our SGP same game parlay time. All right, Joe, I'll go first. I'm going to take the Milwaukee Brewers game against Seattle. Why not, right? They've won 10 in a row. I know it's not going to last long, but until it does, we're going to take advantage of every win we can possibly get. And I know the thinking, okay, they're not going to win 11 in a row. I know, but you said that after they won 9 in a row, about 10 in a row. And you said that about 9 in a row after they won their 8th in a row. And then you said that about 8 in a row after they won their 7th in a row. Oh, they're not going to beat the Dodgers. They're not going to beat them twice. So you throw that stuff out the window. It's going to end. I get that, but until it does, let me go with the Brewers and getting odds. Not big odds, but I'm taking the plus 102 on the parlay. Use that. I'm going to go under first 5.5. I bumped it up. It's normally 4.5, but I bumped it up to 5.5. Gave myself a little bit of a cushion. Woodruff versus Kirby. I mean, this game should be. I know what the trends say. But as far as thinking this out, I mean, this really should be a 3-2, 4-2 type of game. So I don't think they're going to get those 6 runs in the first 5 innings regardless. So give me under first 5, laying 4.5. Then I'm going to use Bryce Terang, guy I tried to use yesterday, but he didn't play yesterday against the Dodgers. So he's coming on an off day, which is great. He's got to be reinvigorated and whatever and really be pumped up tonight. So we'll use him for 2 bases at plus 110. We'll use him to score a run at plus 105. And then we'll go to Brandon Woodruff. Again, we'll lower it a little bit. His number is 5.5, and they're not giving you much of a discount here. His number is 5.5, and they're making it be minus 4 to 1 on the 5, which is really just lousy. But I'll take it just the same. So Milwaukee to win, under 5.5 first 5 innings. Terang 2 bases and a run, and then Woodruff 5 strikeouts or more. And it pays $6.46 when I put it in this afternoon, Joe.
That is a brilliant parlay, Scott. I love where you're going with that. I'm going to tell you 100% because I think every single leg of that parlay is a winner. I'm going to look at the matchup between the Minnesota Twins and the LA Dodgers, and I have a short parlay for you guys. This one, based on the fact that I think Ohtani is going to be able to come out nice and strong, and the Dodgers are going to be able to give him some run support. I think they're going to be upset after that loss and sweep by the Milwaukee Brewers this weekend. So my first leg of this parlay is Ohtani over 3.5 strikeouts. That's coming in at minus 110. I think, we could be surprised in this one. He might stay out a little bit longer than expected, and he was able to get 4 strikeouts his last time out versus the San Francisco Giants. I'll then take the Dodgers to get those runs on the board, over 4.5 runs coming in at minus 125. I expect them to hit David Fiesta here. David Fiesta has an ERA over 5, and he really does give up some hard contact. And then I'll look at the Dodgers in the first 5 on that run line, laying a half a run at minus 140. So when you put all 3 legs together, Ohtani over 3.5 strikeouts, the Dodgers over 4.5 runs, and the Dodgers first 5 run line laying a half a run, it's coming in at plus 305, Scott.
All right, that's not bad. Going conservative, that's okay. I kind of do that generally as well. Beginning of the week, Joe, get a nice little easy winner, build a little pot, and then you play with house money the rest of the week. So that's nothing wrong with that for sure. Good news out of Toronto. Boy, I tell you what, we've given out a couple of potential winners here with Philadelphia. Have them at Pick'em, and said the Blue Jays. We did like them down 1-0 against the Stanks. They scored 2. Bo Bichette, a 2-run double. So they are now leading New York 2-1 as they continue to bat here in the where's the game in the bottom of the 5th inning, and now they're minus 205 favorites. So we've grabbed them before at plus 150 and change, and now they're minus 2-1. So if you want to go with the Stanks at plus 220, there's your your plus money on both sides if you just want to walk away, Joe.
Oh, absolutely. And you got to love that plus money on both sides, being able to sit in that situation. They're plus 230 now. Now we have seen no change in the strikeouts with those pitchers. Carlos Rodon still sitting at 3 strikeouts and Kevin Gausman with those 5. I just hope we can stay with that number. And that total jumped all the way from 5.5 with pretty decent odds to the over. It's now 6.5 minus 154 to that over, Scott. It's too juicy. I would still bet it if the odds came down, but because I do think we still get over that original 8.5, but at minus 154, I wouldn't touch it to the over right now. And then when we look at the Boston Red Sox, the Philadelphia Phillies, we're still tied up 2-2 apiece in that one, bottom of the seventh. You're still not getting a great price there on the Boston Red Sox on that run line, even though it was decent to begin. But you guys, we're coming up against a break. We'll be back in the next couple of minutes here on the grid. Don't go anywhere.
Do you think that there's a possibility that we could be looking at DeBoer wondering if he's the long-term answer at coach for the Tide?
I'm starting to feel like Alabama, I can't believe I'm saying this, Craig, is a sleeper. Fourth easiest schedule in the SEC this year. Ryan Williams is back. I think the friendly, these early season games against Florida State and Wisconsin, that is friendly for Alabama.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I'm sick and tired of seeing tennis players fall to the ground in disbelief, like they captured the Rubik's Cube here. It's take it easy. You won 6-love, 6-2, 6-3. I mean, it's not like it's dramatic. I did today, but I'm saying, I see that guys do that all the time, and women do that. It's relax. You won in straight sets. It was a foregone conclusion an hour ago. Stop pretending like it was a dramatic victory.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
You are going to bank on Luka Doncic, who is a phenomenal talent, but his defense has been questioned, his work ethic, his time has been questioned, and his conditioning has been questioned. Name me one time in his 23-year career that you've questioned one of those three things about LeBron James.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Everybody also is going to know the name Yuri Perez next year because Yuri Perez, obviously in fantasy circles, is a guy that we've been excited about for a while. Burst onto the scene a couple years ago, was electric, was fantastic. Then Tommy John, and we've been waiting for him ever since. And, all of a sudden the last couple stars starting to look like the Yuri Perez that I know I was very excited about drafting going into this season. And he has been brilliant.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to In-Game Live Game Day here on the grid. Scott Wetzel and myself till 10 p.m. Eastern. Now we welcome in George Kurtz. You hear him all the time here on the grid. George, happy Monday. How's your Monday treating you so far?
So far, so good, right? I mean, it's especially betting-wise, it's more 50-50. It seems like I'm splitting everything I did here. I'm winning the under, losing the game, that sort of night here. But, hey, I'm not losing, so I guess it could be worse.
Okay, so firstly, we have to go to the matchup between our teams. The New York Yankees taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. Right now, Toronto is up 2-1, but do you expect the Yankees to be able to make a comeback in this? We saw some great comebacks by them over the weekend versus the Atlanta Braves. Can they do it again here versus Toronto? Because they're plus 235 live on that money line, George.
Well, I think we have to remember the Braves have one of the worst bullpens in baseball, maybe the worst bullpen in baseball. They're a team you want to attack in game as far as betting against their bullpen or betting the overs in game here. So I think that's what you want to do there with the Braves here. Yankees also have a bad bullpen. So it's hard for the Yankees to come back as a team. Not that Toronto has a lockdown bullpen. They have a solid bullpen here. And remember, probably no Devin Williams for the Yankees tonight. Maybe no Luke Weaver. They pitched quite a bit over the weekend, so the Yankees may not have them here. That's my long-winded way of saying no. I don't expect them to come back, and this is a game where I actually did have the under. So far, so good. Although the Blue Jays seem to have people on base every inning, and I have the Blue If the Blue Jays win tonight, I'll be betting them tomorrow. Almost blind again. They're on a streak. They don't lose at home. They've won, 10 straight here. I'm not betting against the Blue Jays until they lose.
Yeah, definitely on a hot streak now, and we're so strong in the last series versus the Yankees as well. The Baltimore Orioles and the Cleveland Guardians are tied up 5-5 apiece right now in the middle of the sixth. We are seeing Baltimore coming in at plus 120, minus 154 for the Cleveland Guardians, and that total sky high at 13.5. Did you do anything in this game, George?
There's been a couple of games that have been fun tonight, right? And this is one of them where it's just, did not expect this amount of runs to be scored here with Bibby on the mound here, and you never know what you're going to get out of Baltimore. So I had Cleveland to win the game and the under. So right now I'm in trouble with this game, not going the way I expected it to go at all. We're not talking big bucks here, but we are talking about, hey, I didn't see this game going this way at all, where all of a sudden Bibby got beat up. I mean, he just got beat up by Baltimore here, but it's actually been an entertaining game, which is something I don't get to say a lot for the Cleveland Guardians.
All right. Any other games that are going on now, George, that you like before we get to the games that have yet to begin?
Listen, I'm on. It's Paul Skeens Day. All right, this is one of those games I was saying earlier where we're splitting here. I'm on the under, of course. We're always on the under with Skeens, but I did bet Detroit to win the game because they usually lose here. But they scored a couple of runs early for him there. I'm on San Diego to beat Miami, so that's going my way there. And I did have the over in the Washington game, which cashed. I think in the second inning. That's one of those very, very entertaining games here so far today. Philadelphia, Boston. I think last I saw before I came on, that was tied at 2. And it is. Yep. I had the under in that one, but I also have the Phillies here. So I need Phillies to squeeze out a win.
Okay, so let's get to some of those games that are coming up. The St. Louis Cardinals versus the Colorado Rockies. Did this one make your card, George? Is this one you're interested in at all?
Did it make my card? Yes, it did, because hey, it's Monday and I'm going to be on In-Game Live all night here. So it would not have. If I wasn't covering Rage tonight, it would not have made my card. Okay, this is a game where you got to be kidding me. 11.5 is the current over here. I see the Yankees just made an error and the Jays score another run here. Good for my over. So we'll see if how that works out. But I took the under. I thought 11.5 is too high for teams that. Neither team's a high-scoring team. The Cardinals look like they just want to get out of here. They're just done. I think they know they're going to be trading out the deadline now. Their magical season's over. Clock struck midnight, pumpkin, whatever word you want to use there. Took the under here. Did not take the game, although I do lean towards the Cardinals, but I'm not laying 168.
Pretty good series. Houston, Arizona. Astros struggling, though. They've lost, 7 of 8, dating back to obviously before the All-Star break. Arizona coming off a 3-game sweep of those aforementioned St. Louis Cardinals. They're laying $1.42 with Gallen on the hill against Houston.
I'm going to roll the dice a little bit here, and I'm going to take the money line with Arizona. I like the plus 180. All right, like the plus 180. Houston's throwing Gordon. You mentioned, Scott, they're struggling. Were they one in their last, one of the last 8 games I think they've done? Yeah. Oh, yeah, 2. They're struggling mightily right now. And Zach Gallen's on the mound, right? So he's sort of figured it out over his last 2-3 starts. His hard hit rate, he's still getting the hit hard, but his strikeout to walk rate has really balanced out to what it was during his Cy Young year. So I'm going to go with Arizona to win by more than 1. Remember, no Isaac Paredes for Houston. He went on the IL. It was either yesterday or today with the hamstring issue. So they just don't have much offense left here. Give me the Diamondbacks.
We have a great pitching matchup between Brandon Woodruff and George Kirby coming up between the Milwaukee Brewers and the Seattle Mariners. This total is a 7. It's juiced to that under at minus 122. Is this another under game for you, George, or are you going to look at this game to go to the over, or are you staying off that total as a whole?
2 guys that are on my top fantasy team, Kirby and Woodruff here. So I'm sure they'll both get shelled just to tick me off. I can't bet the over in the game, but when I see a total this low, I want to bet. I really want to bet the over. But maybe I'm not doing it because they are on my fantasy team, and I don't want to jinx myself here. I do expect it to be a low-scoring game, though. Woodruff, my only question with him is, will he go deeper into the game? He's coming back from the injury. He's made a couple of starts, not very good starts here, but they've been babying him, right? So I wonder, is he going to go 5 innings, 6 innings? Could be more of a bullpen game here. Something we want to watch, and I wouldn't play any props on Woodruff, not yet. I'm still waiting for him to, I guess I'm waiting for Milwaukee to let him go. I expect this to be an under. If I was going to lean towards a team, it would be Seattle.
All right, last game on the board. Dodgers looking to get out of a funk, George, that have seen them lose 6 straight home games, 10 of their last 12 overall. They got swept by Milwaukee, the aforementioned Brewers, over the weekend. Although at least they did hit the ball a little bit better the last 2 games. You got Ohtani on the hill. He figures to go about 3, according to Dave Roberts, manager of the Brewers. They're laying $178. It's gone way up from what it was earlier today, which was in the 160 range. Twinkies losing 2 out of 3 over the weekend to Colorado, which is just beyond embarrassing. Plus 150. Where you going?
Going with the Dodgers, going on the run line, though. I'm not going to lay 178, although that doesn't kill me. I think the Dodgers win tonight. I think it might even be kind of easy here. Twins, they're throwing faster on the mound. Nothing great there. We know Ohtani's not going to go long, right? He's going to go, 3, I think, is the max, by the way. I think he goes 2+ more than that. That depends how quickly he can get out of these innings here. But I think they wake up tonight. They came close last night to what they needed in that game. They had, I think it was the bases loaded, 2 outs. Mookie Betts was at the plate. He hit a rocket right at the center field. What are you going to do? But they really would have needed that, right, to win the game here and to get Mookie to get that big hit. I've been complaining. I said it yesterday. Mookie's batting, 188 in July. Freddie Freeman's batting 200 since June. This is not the Dodgers offense we expected. It's just not. And I don't know, Scotty. I don't know where it's coming. How is it going to get better? Are they going to trade for Louis Robert, hope that he becomes the guy? Who knows? But Muncy's not coming back probably for another 3 weeks about. Betts, I don't know if he's ever going to get better. I don't know if Freeman's getting better here. Teoscar Hernandez had a good April, and that's it. He's been invisible. This team has come down to Ohtani, Will Smith, and Will Smith's history says that he's not going to have as good a second half as the first half, just what he usually does. Catcher gets beat up and he gets tired here. And Andy Pajas has been a bit of, a big surprise on offense. They're carrying the team. That's a lot to ask.
It is a lot to ask. And I was wondering, George, how long do you think till we see a longer leash on Ohtani? If you're only thinking he comes out for maybe 3 innings in this one, when do you think we start to see him come out 4 or 5 innings?
We haven't seen this, right? Not only are they rehabbing him at the major league level, which is weird in itself, but they're so babying him. Usually it's, you either 30 pitches, 40, 50, you get up 10 each time. They're not doing that. Listen, I understand you want to be very careful with Ohtani. I get that. But this is a strange situation. So if you want to ask me, I think they're trying to get him ready for when it counts, September. They want him to be up there for September. So they'll keep babying him. I don't think he's going to – if you're playing in a league where you want a quality starter, you're going for a win, 5 innings – you're waiting at least another 2 to 3 weeks before he's going to get that. And before he goes deeper into the game, I think that's September. I think that's what they're gearing him up for. Make 3 or 4 starts in September where you are Ohtani, get ready for the playoffs.
They're in a tough spot. What are you going to do? The alternative, send him down to the minors and then not have his bat in the lineup? Right? You can't do that. So, George, great job as always. Our good buddy George Kurtz here on the Grid.
There's a possibility that we could be looking at the board wondering if he's the long-term answer at coach for the Tide?
I'm starting to feel like Alabama, I can't believe I'm saying this, Craig, is a sleeper. 4th easiest schedule in the SEC this year. Ryan Williams is back. I think the friendly, these early season games against Florida State and Wisconsin, that is friendly for Alabama.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Sick and tired of seeing tennis players fall to the ground in disbelief, like they captured the Rubik's Cube here. It's take it easy. You won 6-love, 6-2, 6-3. It's not like it's dramatic. I did today, but I'm saying I see that guys do that all the time, and women do that. It's relax. You won in straight sets. It was a foregone conclusion an hour ago. Stop pretending like it was a dramatic victory.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
You are going to bank on Luka Doncic, who is a phenomenal talent, but his defense has been questioned, his work ethic, his time has been questioned, and his conditioning has been questioned. Name me one time in his 23-year career that you've questioned one of those 3 things about LeBron James.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Everybody also is going to know the name Yuri Perez next year because Yuri Perez, obviously in fantasy circles, is a guy that we've been excited about for a while. Burst onto the scene a couple years ago, was electric, was fantastic. Then Tommy John, and we've been waiting for him ever since. And, all of a sudden the last couple starts starting to look like the Yuri Perez that I know I was very excited about drafting going into this season, and he has been brilliant.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. It is In-Game Live Game Day here on the grid on a Monday evening. Scott Wetzel, Joe Bann. Thanks to George Kurtz. It'll be George and Adam Kaufman at 10 o'clock going the next two on SportsGrid as we extend In-Game Live with the Cam and Gabe both on vacation, or at least away for the week. So keep the dial right where it is. We'll talk to Adam in about 20 minutes or so. As a matter of fact, top of the hour, get his thoughts on the baseball board tonight. So got some updates here. Skeens, we'll start there. Joe pitched 6. So he went over his outs prop, as I figured he would do. He did not get another strikeout. He only had 6. So I wouldn't be betting like you. I would not be betting, for the most part, his strikeouts. They're just making him too high. He came out after 86 pitches. I mean, what are you doing? Why are we playing baseball? The guy's got 86 pitches. You want to baby him? This is not last year. But that's what they do. You know that going in. So he did get his 6. It's still 3-0, bottom of the 7th. They pulled everything off the board on that one. You know, if it's any other team, I would say I'd take a flyer, Joe, with Detroit, because Skeens is out of the game, and now you got the Pirates bullpen. But, man, this Detroit team has been so bad, and we went outlined the lack of runs that they've been getting over the last week and change. So maybe 2.5 plus 158 if you want to play the game, that they get 1 run. Pittsburgh doesn't score. Maybe it ends up being 3-1. You got 2 at-bats to get 1 run against the Pirates bullpen. I might do that. You might be able to talk me into that for a little bit.
Yeah, with the plus money they're giving you on that plus 2.5 for the Detroit Tigers, that's where I'd go if you really needed a bet. I wouldn't look at them on the money line to come back and get the win here. You got to wonder what the Pirates are thinking of doing with Paul Skeens. Like, is this going to be, if they get rid of Paul Skeens, if they do trade him away, Scott, they're going to always be rebuilding. You think this team should be trying to build around him, but they're not giving him a long enough leash in these games either, which leads me to believe that he is probably one of the pitchers that they are considering trading here. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you think Paul Skeens wakes up a Pirate for the rest of the season?
I would think so. It's weird. You know, if it was me, would I do it? No. But would I do it if I'm the Pirates? Yes. Meaning that if they know they're not going to re-sign him, and if they know they're not going to build around him, then what's the point of holding on to him? You might as well trade him now, get the absolute top dollar. A team that trades for him would have him under contract and their rights for the next 3-4 years. That is so valuable on the open market versus trading him, 2 years from now when you only really have 1 year. So if I'm the Pirates and I operate my business as cheap as they do, yeah, I would trade him. We've got over their attendance numbers. I don't know why they drew 20,000 this weekend against the Chicago White Sox, but for the most part, they don't draw anymore. Like, we'll give you the numbers when this game is over. It's going to be probably under 20,000. It's not like they're getting sold out crowds when he pitches. So yeah, I would, even though if it was me and I run a business and I want to win, I wouldn't. But that's not how they do business. So Cleveland.
I was just going to say, if you keep Paul Skeens, what do you do with Mitch Keller? He's got a 3.48 ERA. A lot of teams would be wanting to pick him up. Do you keep both of them, Scott, if you're keeping Skeens?
Again, if it's me, that's a pretty good top 2 rotation, right? I mean, those guys are halfway decent. You can build around those. But if you're not going to pay Skeens, do you want to strip it all down? I mean, they're god-awful, right? I mean, so... yeah, they might. If you can get a pretty good prospect for Keller, I guess you would have to do it. So it'll be interesting to see some of the guys that are some of these bad teams, Jose Sorianos and the Luis Severinos of the world. Those are the guys you're going to hear over the next week about possible trades and what teams, well, it depends on what kind of prospects you can get for these guys. But Cleveland leads Baltimore 6-5. That's gone back and forth. Baltimore did have a lead. I think it was 5-2 or at least 5-3. I know that. Top of the 7th, you get the Orioles almost 3-1 plus 290. High scoring game. back and forth. I think they're capable of putting a run on the board. The bullpen has been good. Bibby's still in there for Cleveland, according to FanDuel, top of the seventh. I'm a little surprised with that. That's really, he's given up 5 runs and he's still in there. I got to double check that. That can't be right.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like he is for
Yeah, he
FanDuel
is.
from what I'm seeing. So I guess they're holding him in the game as long as possible. I'd look at the over 13.5, Scott, especially as his arm starts to get tired out there. You know, the Orioles have every ability to hit him with a tired arm. I'd take the over 13.5 at plus 134. And then you're right, plus 285 for the Baltimore Orioles. It's a nice price. And I do think if they all of a sudden get 2 runs on the board, we're going to see that flip. The Cleveland Guardians will come in at a nice price and you might have a hedging opportunity in this game. It's the top of the 7th, so not too much baseball left to play, but plenty of opportunities, I'm sure, for this to go back and forth with how high scoring it is.
That's what I'm thinking, Joe. I'm going to take the 290, 285, 290. Hope they get the 1 run. Games go back down to pick 'em or so, and then I'll bet Cleveland on the other side. I think we could get that. Padres 2-1 over the Miami Marlins. I did like the under in this game. This guy, Yuri Perez, has pitched pretty well. Another guy, another name that, a bad team, Miami, that you might, at least you'll hear, no doubt, all next week about possible trades. He's pitched well over the last month or so. They are down 2-1. Padres leading. Top of the 8th inning. You got minus 410 on San Diego, so you obviously can't do that. It's all a matter of whether you bet the underdogs. It's amazing. That's how all these games are. It's not, can we bet the favorite up 2-1? What is this so easy? You can't do it. Not a minus 4-1. So it's the underdog or nothing. I might take a flyer on the Marlins at plus 285 at home. They've been playing good ball.
Yeah, they are. And I bet the Padres with that plus 120 going into this game. So it feels like coming back in on the Miami Marlins would be a smart move. I just couldn't get past the Padres coming in at plus 121 on that money line versus the Miami Marlins. I know the Marlins have played good ball at home, but I kind of thought this would be more of a minus 110 on both sides. So I had to jump on that plus money. I do think that 4.5, even though middle of the 8th here, especially because Miami has every ability to tie this up, and I think that they could. We've seen this team get those late runs on the board, killing unders for us like yesterday, right? They killed that under. Yeah. So I take the over 4.5 at plus 100, Scott.
All right, quick little break. We'll check out some of the games that are just underway, including Texas and the A's and St. Louis and Colorado. And, of course, our Black Cloud Play of the Day. All coming up next right here on the Grid.
There's a possibility that we could be looking at the board wondering if he's the long-term answer at coach for the Tide?
I'm starting to feel like Alabama, I can't believe I'm saying this, Craig, is a sleeper. 4th easiest schedule in the SEC this year. Ryan Williams is back. I think the friendly, these early season games against Florida State and Wisconsin, that is friendly for Alabama.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Sick and tired of seeing tennis players fall to the ground in disbelief, like they captured the Rubik's Cube here. It's take it easy. You won 6-love, 6-2, 6-3. I mean, it's not like it's dramatic. I did that now, did today, but I'm saying, I see that guys do that all the time, and women do that. It's like, relax. You won in straight sets. It was a foregone conclusion an hour ago. Stop pretending like it was a dramatic victory.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
You are going to bank on Luka Doncic, who is a phenomenal talent, but his defense has been questioned, his work ethic, his time has been questioned, and his conditioning has been questioned. Name me one time in his 23-year career that you've questioned one of those 3 things about LeBron James.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Everybody also is going to know the name Yuri Perez next year because Yuri Perez, obviously in fantasy circles, is a guy that we've been excited about for a while. Burst onto the scene a couple years ago, was electric, was fantastic. Then Tommy John and we've been waiting for him ever since. And, all of a sudden the last couple stars starting to look like the Yuri Perez that I know I was very excited about drafting going into this season. And he has been brilliant.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
And welcome back. It is in-game live game day on the grid. Scott and Joe until 10 p.m. Eastern time as we close out hour number one, as we always do with our very best play, our Black Cloud play of the day. We need this one, and this has got the Black Cloud on it. I gave it out to the podcast crew as our best play, put it with the boys in Vegas and everything else, and we're going to kind of buck some trends about going on bad or teams that are struggling. But like you, Joe, I like the Dodgers. I do. They're laying $170 or so against Minnesota. Minnesota stinks. You lose 2 or 3 to Colorado. That's all the excuse you need to go against them. I know the Dodgers are struggling, but they're 8-2 their last 10 against Minnesota, so they've owned this series. Freddie Freeman can't hit his way out of a paper bag. Same thing with Mookie Betts, but they did score a bunch of runs the last 2 games against the Brewers, so maybe, just maybe, they're breaking out of it. Minnesota's 11-19 their last 30 games, in addition to losing 2 or 3 to Colorado. Against the winning teams, they're only 23-32 as well. The Twins against good teams as the Dodgers are, despite the struggles. And then the kicker is we got Ohtani on the hill. He's going to go at least 3. Dave Roberts has said that, and that's probably all he's going to go. And then it's the bullpen thing, but you get David Festa on the hill. The Dodgers aren't losing to David Festa. What is that, David Festa? Come on. I mean, the Dodgers had won like 7 of 10. Yeah, maybe they look past David Festa, but a David Festa is not going into L.A. when the Dodgers are ticked off after getting swept by the Brewers, Joe. I just don't see it. I got to see it to believe it. I'm going to lay the $170, 170. It's not that big of a price. It's not 2-1, 2.5-1. So give me the Dodgers minus the 170. Our Black Cloud. Our Black Cloud, by the way, 26 games over 500, 56 up, only 30 down since we started this several months ago. So Dodgers the play tonight, Joe.
I think you have a winner, Scott, on your hands. It has to be the Dodgers tonight. The juice has been taking up on this all day long. They were like minus 152 when I looked first thing this morning, all the way up to minus 170. The money's coming in on the right side. You just can't trust the Minnesota Twins with David Festa getting the start. You said it. They're going to hit him, the Dodgers, and they're going to hit him nice and hard in this one. I was considering taking his strikeouts because when you look at David Festa for his strikeouts, he's been able to get 48 strikeouts in 48 innings pitched, but I don't think he stays in the game long enough to go over 5.5 strikeouts because of how much hard contact the Dodgers probably put up in this game. I think their bats come alive in this one. They're able to get those runs on the board and will capitalize on all the mistakes the Minnesota Twins make in this. And Ohtani will limit the bats of the Twins. So I can't see a way the Dodgers lose this one unless all of a sudden David Festa comes out here and plays like Ohtani, right? Like, I don't see any other way of this happening.
I don't think so either. I really don't. Like I said, I gotta see Minnesota go into LA and beat the Dodgers. Then I'll believe it. No matter who's pitching, but especially with Ohtani. The stadium's got to be extra juiced. It's only 3 innings. I get that, but the fact that they got embarrassed by Milwaukee, there's got to do a little soul searching. And Freeman's got to break out of this thing. Betts is going to break out of this thing. I do like the Dodgers tonight. I really do. So, one game just underway. St. Louis and Colorado, no score, top of the second. Cardinals, basically the same number they were, Joe, to start the game. Minus 158. Over-under is down to 9.5. It was 10.5. But with no runs being scored the first, they dropped it. Cardinals, listen, they get swept by Arizona. They're 4-11 their last 15 games. They're in the process of falling out of this wild card race in the National League. They got to turn things around here. Wake up and smell the coffee. You got to win some of these games. Can't get swept in Arizona, and you certainly can't lose 2 of 3 or whatever it may end up being against Colorado. You got to win this series. St. Louis 8-4 over their last 12. Rockies did a nice job taking 2 out of 3 against Minnesota. Maybe, just maybe, they're turning things around. And I'll give you a trend that, look at that, that's 6-56 when they score 3 runs or less at Colorado. That's really remarkable. But I'd say the other one, Joe, you and I talked about yesterday or Saturday, I forget which day it was, the Rockies, as bad as they are, and they are horrible, right? They are 15-19 against losing teams. Now, St. Louis is a winning team, but 3 games over 500. So they're a mediocre team. The Rockies, kind of held their own against clubs like this, but I still like St. Louis.
I like St. Louis as well. They got swept by the Diamondbacks in that series. They were only able to put up, a total of 7 runs. They absolutely struggled offensively. But we know the Colorado Rockies will give up those runs. St. Louis gave up the runs this weekend as well, and I think they continue to do so. That total's dropped from 11.5 to 9.5. Give me the over stuff.
Yeah. 9-56 are the Rockies against winning teams if you want to go on the other side. That's bad. Adam Kaufman joins us next. We'll talk some baseball with him.
Do you think that there's a possibility that we could be looking at DeBoer wondering if he's the long-term answer at coach for the Tide?
I'm starting to feel like Alabama, I can't believe I'm saying this, Craig, is a sleeper. 4th easiest schedule in the SEC this year. Ryan Williams is back. I think the friendly, these early season games against Florida State and Wisconsin, that is friendly for Alabama.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Sick and tired of seeing tennis players fall to the ground in disbelief, like they captured the Rubik's Cube here. It's take it easy. You won 6-love, 6-2, 6-3. I mean, it's not like it's dramatic. I did today, but I'm saying I see that guys do that all the time, and women do that. It's relax. You won in straight sets. It was a foregone conclusion an hour ago. Stop pretending like it was a dramatic victory.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
You are going to bank on Luka Doncic, who is a phenomenal talent, but his defense has been questioned, his work ethic, his time has been questioned, and his conditioning has been questioned. Name me one time in his 23-year career that you've questioned one of those 3 things about LeBron James.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Everybody also is going to know the name Yuri Perez next year because Yuri Perez, obviously in fantasy circles, is a guy that we've been excited about for a while. First onto the scene a couple years ago, was electric, was fantastic. Then Tommy John, and we've been waiting for him ever since. And, all of a sudden the last couple starts starting to look like the Yuri Perez that I know I was very excited about drafting going into this season. And he has been brilliant.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. It is In-Game Live, Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Joe in for Dave Sherapan tonight. Hour number 2. We got a full hour to go. Then it'll be Adam Kaufman and George Kurtz as they're sitting in for Gabe and Cam tonight. In fact, all week long. So Adam, gracious enough to join us here for a couple of moments, getting ready for his show. Do appreciate that. Adam, what's going on tonight, my friend?
Come on, you guys say jump, I say how high. Don't give me this gracious stuff. I am happy to hop on with you anytime. How you guys doing?
Doing pretty good. Happy to have you here, Adam. That's for sure. We've got a bunch of games underway, and they're late in these games, like the Tigers versus the Pirates. You shocked that the Tigers are still struggling to put runs on the board?
No, yes and no. So I am surprised in a general sense that Detroit is having so much trouble offensively out of the gate, after the All-Star break. Obviously, last night we see Tariq Skubal do what he's supposed to do and play stopper, but even still, they only get 2 runs on the board in a very favorable matchup after Nathan Eovaldi was scratched, as we talked about on the show yesterday. So I thought that was going to be an opportunity to put some runs on the board for Detroit. That being said, with Paul Skeens on the other side for Pittsburgh tonight, I thought Detroit was going to lose. I thought Detroit was going to struggle offensively. I took Pittsburgh first 5. I took Pittsburgh full game. To me, this screamed support Paul Skeens, especially with the lack of offense for Detroit, and just in general the way this team has been playing, over the last couple weeks, extending back to before the break. I mean, they had lost 6 straight games going into last night when Skubal showed up and was awesome, and ultimately the bullpen gives up the 1-0 lead late, but Detroit did enough to come away with the victory there in the end. Tonight, off the travel with Sunday Night Baseball as well, the trends, certainly, and Scott probably talked about this earlier on the show, the trends did not support the Tigers today. Is a trouble spot written all over it. You factor in Paul Skeens as well, and no, I was emphatically on Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it is amazing that Sunday into Monday thing. The teams do this all the time. Wednesday into Thursday or Thursday into Friday they play. But there's something goofy and special about teams like to play against clubs that have to fly Sunday night into Monday. So top of the ninth.
Well, I'll just tell you too. I was looking it up earlier. Just pull it up on my phone quickly because there's an account that I follow. It does a great job putting out travel trends and that sort of thing. I will tell you that the road team traveling to a new city after Sunday Night Baseball without an off day this year, there have only been 2 instances where there was a victory. 2. And that was the Dodgers against Cleveland, and it was the Dodgers against Miami. Other than that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and tonight would be 10 losses. That's 2 and 10 in game 1 after the Sunday Night Baseball road team travels to a new city without rest.
That's goofy. That really is something. All right, our Red Sox, this is a bet that Joe and I like, and I think everyone does, really. But Lester this year, bottom of the ninth, tied Philadelphia 2-2, and they're giving us an over-under of 5.5. If this thing goes extra innings, chances are, decent that we get 6 runs out of this. I'm surprised that, there was a time where they wouldn't give us an over-under in a 2-2 game, bottom of the ninth inning, looking at extra innings, Adam. But they are on FanDuel today.
Well, like you said, with the ghost runner, if we do get to extras and, it's sort of head and heart right here, or heart and wallet, I guess is a better way to put it, because while I am a Red Sox fan and supporter, I am invested in Philadelphia tonight. So, I kind of hope it doesn't get to extras and they can just wrap this thing up. But sure, whenever you are just, intuitively, fundamentally, call it whatever you want, whenever you are starting an inning, just knowing point blank, hey, man in scoring position to begin the inning with nobody out. You're starting with a man on second. And not only that, you're going to get the same story in the bottom half of the inning as well. Going in, it's hard not to be tempted by the over in that situation, because you figure, I know there are plenty of instances where teams will just, they'll get that free man in scoring position. They don't do anything with it. But a lot of the time, you do see 1 or 2 runs. And then in the bottom half of the inning, a team will score maybe 1 and then lose, or even, tie the game up and force another set of extra innings where they're in the exact same situation. So, yeah, I mean, it's not like, we're like long gone are the days where you feel like, okay, 2-2 game going extras probably ends 3-2 one way or the other. Now it's the wild, wild west when you get to extras with these ghost runners.
We're going to the top of the 5th between the Tampa Bay Rays and the Chicago White Sox. Now, the Rays are at home, but Chicago is up in this one. They're coming off a weekend series versus the Pirates, in which they were able to get a couple nice wins on that run line. Now up 6-2 over the Tampa Bay Rays. Do you think, can I entice you into the Tampa Bay Rays plus 3.5 at -102 to make a comeback at least by catching up on those runs, or at plus 560 on the money line here? It's the Chicago White Sox, Adam. They shouldn't be winning this game.
They shouldn't be, but you know what? The White Sox have been playing good baseball here, out of the All-Star break. So, no, I don't want to go near it. I really don't. And I say this even knowing, like you just said, okay, it's 6-2 Chicago, fourth inning, whatever it is. Going into the game, I didn't like this game, and I didn't have a feel for this game, and I didn't want to bet this game. I did sort of get a little, like, peer pressured into... and I say that like peer pressured by nobody, doing it entirely to myself. I like to look at a lot of the data. I do like to at least check out for the sake of being informed. It doesn't mean it is going to influence me, but every once in a while it does. I like to see what the splits look like and what the public is doing. And, Tampa was a very popular play today. And so I looked at it and I said, okay, I don't really want to invest in a side for this one, but I'll put together a small little funny money parlay, with some teams that are in good spots to win. And sure, let's fade the White Sox. And I just threw Tampa money line in there. So in that sense, of course, I'll root for Tampa Bay to come back and win this game. And that would go a long way toward helping my parlay because I think the other legs are in pretty good shape. But going into it, I didn't see any real edge in the pitching matchup. And it didn't feel like a good spot. And then you, again, add to the fact that the White Sox have been playing, not White Sox-like baseball so far here in the short sampling out of the All-Star break that, I don't know, honestly, Joe, maybe, just maybe, and you can look at this a million different ways, but maybe the lesson here is, and I've said this so many different ways before, if there's a game and you say, I don't really see an edge, but I want to invest in it. Like you tell me, what's the right way to do it? If you just feel, I know that the right answer should be, how about just don't bet it? You don't have to bet everything. But if you feel compelled, is it, do I just take the home team because I don't see an edge, so I'll create an edge and go with the home team? Or do you say, I'll take the plus money, I'll take the dog because I don't see an edge? I don't know what the right answer is there.
Toronto had won 10 straight home games, right? Yet they were even, maybe even a slight underdog against the Yankees. They're up 4-1. We got Milwaukee that's won 10 in a row overall, an underdog at Seattle. I mean, is it that so easy just to keep on playing the streak teams?
Well, George Kurtz, who I'm going to be on with after you guys, would say yes. He will almost blindly invest in streaks of
That's
3 or more, winning or losing, and just keep going because, as he has said, I can only lose once, right? The streak can only end one time. But look, I'm floored by the fact that Toronto is up in this game. I thought New York, at least the first 5 with Rodon on the mound, was going to be a good spot. Clearly not the case.
Yeah. Adam, great job as always. Adam and George, they'll take over top of next hour from 10 to midnight Eastern time right here on the grid. Adam, great job, man. We'll do it again soon. Thanks.
Sounds great.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
Rearranging that rhythm. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of thoughts.
18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
All right, welcome back. It is in-game live game day here on the grid. Scott and Joe, hour number 2 as we hand it off to Adam and George in about 45 minutes. So plenty of time to get a couple more winning bets out there. That is for sure, Joe. So get 10-5 Cleveland over Baltimore. So much for the Orioles maybe scoring a run here. Cleveland put 4 on the board in the 7th inning and blew it open. That's all but over there. Washington holding on 10-6 are under 18.5. I bottom 7. I will say a little surprised because they're giving you 17.5. You know, we put it in, or I put it in anyway, under 18.5 earlier. You only need 2 more runs at the bottom of the 7th, you know, in a 10-6 game. I kind of like the over now, to tell you the truth, Joe. I mean, Washington still has to score. You know, Cincinnati's not giving up, you know, so over 17.5 plus 116, huh? I may, I'm going to try a middle because I actually think we're going to get some more runs now. So I'll take the under 18.5. I'll go over 17.5, and any kind of luck, we get 18 runs here. But at worst, we'll get a split. I'll take that right now because I do think we're going to get a bunch more runs.
Oh,
a few more,
absolutely.
anyway.
I can't believe it's 17.5 at plus 112 to the over, Scott. I would have thought this would have been still 18.5, right? We've got 16 runs, bottom of the 7th, 2 outs here for the Reds. Just got 2 of the Nationals out, but there's plenty of time left in this. You got the whole 8th, and I know you only have the top of the 9th if the Reds aren't able to tie it up, but that's okay. Right? Like, I'm sure we'll still go over 17.5, and that plus money just keeps going higher and higher. So plus 116, dropping now to plus 114. But yeah, let's take it over.
Yeah, and if it doesn't go over, then we just walk away with the split because we're not laying odds on that. And just, we would have thrown a winner away, but that's okay. It is what it is. Top 8, Toronto still 4-1 over the Stanks. Toronto now minus 35-1 favorites. Yankees 10.5 to 1. We don't happen. The Yankees are down 8-0 a couple of times in different games. That they have come back to win. But I don't know if it's going to happen tonight. You can grab them 2.5 runs at plus 152. Down 3 runs, or you can just grab them 11-1. I would say over, but you got to lay minus 180, so I'm not going to do that. I might take a flyer on the Stankies at 2.5 runs plus 152. I'll take a chance they get 1 run.
I don't hate it, Scott. Yeah, I don't hate it at all. So we're at the top of the 8th. No outs so far. So we've got the top of the 8th, top of the 9th for them to be able to get a run or 2 on the board. The Toronto Blue Jays bullpen has been playing better, but it's still the Toronto Blue Jays bullpen. So I would definitely take the +2.5 at +144. I think it's a great bet. And because I like that, I lean for this one to go over that total. That total 6.5 now at +132. I did like the total to the over originally. And that number just doesn't look like we're going to hit it. But could the Yankees tie it up and us still hit those overs? Yeah, well, they absolutely could. So I'd lean to the over 6.5 before I took the under 6.5, Scott.
All right. Red Sox did not score, Joe, in the top of the 10th. They didn't bunt the runner over. We've had our discussions about that. So there was a lefty up there. So I get it. So, but they're giving, interestingly enough, they're giving you an over under of 5.5 still. It's -260. So I wouldn't play it straight. But Phillies score, they win 3-2. I mean, unless they hit a 2-run homer, the real bet is will Philadelphia score? Chances are real good if Philadelphia scores, it's going to be 3-2. Yeah. You're betting, if you bet the over, you're betting on Philadelphia not scoring, and then you go to the 11th, and now you're sitting at an over 5.5 at +188. I got a feeling middle of the order up, Bryce Harper struck out, or maybe that was the preceding. It might be bottom of the order for the Phillies. But that only leads them to them bunt the runner over, I would think. So I wouldn't play it straight, but I'd put it in a parlay the under.
It makes me question, like, how much do you trust Jordan Hicks here, right? Like, as a closer for the Red Sox, because he is up, right? If you think he can get out of this inning, right? If he can get out of the bottom of the 10th here, we still have every possibility of going over the 5.5. So it makes me kind of nervous, Scott. But you're the Red Sox fan. How much faith do you have in Hicks?
Yeah, I know.
Not much.
He stinks.
Okay.
He stinks. Yeah. And this is kind of a key. It is the bottom of the Phillies order. So if it was Turner, Schwarber, Harper, they would be bunting the runner over. I'd rather have that, believe it or not, to not score. You get the bottom of the order up, you bunt the guy over because, who wants to have a buck 150 hitter up there? He stinks. So let him, make it out and get there out of third base. So that's what I would do so I think it's going to be 3-2 Philadelphia. That's what I'm guessing. So I would, like I said, I would put it in a parlay. I wouldn't bet -260 straight, but I think this is going to be
everything locked up.
Yeah.
Everything locked up. We'll see what happened here, Scott. So
all right, my post Sox in trouble. Metsi's losing again. We haven't talked about the Mets tonight, Joe. 5-2 to the Angels. But they barely beat Cincinnati one game this weekend at home. Now they're losing to the Angels. 5-2, bottom of the 7th. They do have a runner. Well, they got 2 runners on and nobody out, as a matter of fact. Still getting the Mets +168. You want to take a flyer down 3. Only +168, but 2 on, nobody out against the Angels in the 7th.
I don't know, maybe Scott. I'm shaking my head. Right? Yeah, maybe the over 10.5. I don't know. Why aren't the Mets able to come out so strong versus the Angels tonight? I expected them to have a really strong game here. So not what I expected. I don't want to double down on them. I'm with you. I think the over, but look at the juice on the over 10.5. They haven't moved this number. It's -154.
Interesting. But it's a lot of runs. So bottom 7, I would take a flyer on the Mets plus the 180. Do I think it's going to cash? Probably not, but if they score a couple of runs here, you might be able to hedge on the other side a little bit. But they're not playing well. They really aren't. Phillies first and second now, nobody out. They walked them. Not on purpose. They just walked them intentionally.
Really?
Interesting. Yeah.
I wonder how many
Royals.
times... Sorry, I was going to say, I was wondering how many times the Jays have walked Judge today. They always walk him.
Yeah. I know they did at least once tonight. I'll tell you that. Yeah. All right, more coming up in Game Live. Game Day on the Grid.
There's a possibility that we could be looking at DeBoer wondering if he's the long-term answer at coach for the Tide?
I'm starting to feel like Alabama, I can't believe I'm saying this, Craig, is a sleeper. 4th easiest schedule in the SEC this year. Ryan Williams is back. I think the friendly, these early season games against Florida State and Wisconsin, that is friendly for Alabama.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Sick and tired of seeing tennis players fall to the ground in disbelief, like they captured the Rubik's Cube here. It's take it easy. You won 6-love, 6-2, 6-3. I mean, it's not like it's dramatic. I did that now, did today, but I'm saying, I see that guys do that all the time, and women do that. It's relax. You won in straight sets. It was a foregone conclusion an hour ago. Stop pretending like it was a dramatic victory.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
You are going to bank on Luka Doncic, who is a phenomenal talent, but his defense has been questioned, his work ethic, his time has been questioned, and his conditioning has been questioned. Name me one time in his 23-year career that you've questioned one of those three things about LeBron James.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Everybody also is going to know the name Yuri Perez next year because Yuri Perez, obviously in fantasy circles, is a guy that we've been excited about for a while. Burst onto the scene a couple years ago, was electric, was fantastic. Then Tommy John, and we've been waiting for him ever since. And, all of a sudden the last couple stars starting to look like the Yuri Perez that I know I was very excited about drafting going into this season. And he has been brilliant.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Joe, hour number 2. No, I got a feeling the Phillies just won. I think there was catcher's interference. Yeah. On a check swing, I think the batter, bases loaded for the Phillies, nobody out. Dopey Red Sox bring in one of their worst relievers in a 2-2 game against the Phillies. And it's a 0-2 or 1-2 count, and the Philly batter, Sosa, checked his swing, but I think he hit. He automatically signaled like he hit the catcher's mitt, and if that's the case, it's a walk. So that would make it 3-2 in your final. Philadelphia's going to win, I think. Pretty sure. But we'll see. It's going to review now. Stanky's got a couple of runners on. 4-1 they trail. We grabbed them plus the 2.5. 2 outs, but 2 on. So a little 2-out magic here we need for the Stanks to make this a 4-2 game since we grabbed them. Yeah. Mets did score 1 run, Joe. It's 5-3. They got a runner on first now. Oh, the Mets have tied it. How about that? 5-5. So they're now a favorite. Oh, how about that? We grabbed them plus the 175 or so. Now they're minus 245. And now you can grab the Angels plus the 186, which I will do. And that is it. Ball game over. Phillies win 3-2. Fudge. All right. I was laying a run and a half. Yeah. I was laying a run and a half on that one.
Yeah, losses like that always hurt, Scott. Right? Losses like that are absolutely the worst. The Phillies were such a big favorite. That's the only way you could take it unless you took the Boston Red Sox plus the 1.5. So looking at the Atlanta Braves, we haven't talked much about this game. They're up 8-3 over the San Francisco Giants. The Giants, another team that took a loss this weekend, being swept by the Toronto Blue Jays. It looks like they're going to take another loss here. It's the bottom of the 6th right now, and lines just did lock up. We're seeing the Braves with a runner out there on second, up 8-3, Scott. I didn't think that the Atlanta Braves would put up this many runs so quickly in this game.
Yeah, this will be a 6th straight loss for the Giants if they go out to lose this game, which you figure they will do. So yeah, I'm still down on the Braves, but I'm not high on the Giants either. So let's see. It's locked right now, like you said. Let's see what numbers they post on there. But bottom 6. A 9-3 game now. They just added 1 more run. So, yeah, that's a stay-away game. White Sox, Tampa Bay, stay-away game. Now, you goofy White Sox, are you still laying a run and a half with them? I know you did on Saturday. I think you did yesterday as well. Yeah, I mean, it's not a principle now. You got to do it again. I keep playing the White Sox laying a run and a half, right? You have to do it.
Well, I wanted to, but then I couldn't get the nerve, Scott. I was so nervous. Like I put it in, I went to
Oh,
hit the button and I was like, no, you can't do it. The Tampa Bay Rays are gonna dominate them tonight, but I should have. I should have just kept playing it until it lost. Chicago now up 8-2. And I reinvested when we had Adam on with the Tampa Bay Rays. I grabbed them plus the 3.5 at plus 100 as well as plus 560 on the money line. Not looking good right now. They're now plus 900 on the money line, plus 4.5 on that run line at plus 114. This team is absolutely struggling. They do have a runner on first, though, but one out at the moment. So I won't be shocked if the Chicago White Sox win another one by a couple of runs here as a huge underdog coming in, Scott.
if they win tonight, you got to play them laying a run and a half. No matter what the line is, no matter who's pitching, you just have to do it. It's principle. That's your team. Toronto's your main team. The White Sox are now your second favorite team. You've been anointed the biggest White Sox fan.
That's not a title, a plaque that I want. Chicago White Sox, one of the teams. So
yeah. Listen, I got the Miami Marlins because of my overplay, and then you could have the White Sox. So we each have kind of dog teams. Speaking of dog teams, how about the Rockies leading St. Louis 2-1 as they play top of the fourth inning? And the Rockies are favorites, minus 138 on FanDuel. St. Louis plus 110 on the other side. Cardinals, we said it's scuffling heading into this game. They were only minus 155 or so favorites, which is rare even on the road for a team to be that low against Colorado. But St. Louis isn't playing well, and Colorado did win 2 out of 3. You want to grab the Cardinals plus small odds? It's locked right now, the top of the fourth inning. They just locked it. They were plus 110 before.
I would look at the Cardinals. I think they have every ability. What I'm interested in is that total. They are really reluctant to move this total down, Scott. It was 11.5. We saw 9.5. We're seeing 10.5 right before this locked up. It's interesting. We've only got 3 runs, top of the fourth. I don't know. Probably still goes over. It's in Colorado, but I want to see what it opens back at it.
All right, we'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at Royals Cubs. Interesting play. And then we got 2 games starting in a little bit. We'll preview those when we come back.
There's a possibility that we could be looking at DeBoer wondering if he's the long-term answer at coach for the Tide?
I'm starting to feel like Alabama, I can't believe I'm saying this, Craig, is a sleeper. 4th easiest schedule in the SEC this year. Ryan Williams is back. I think the friendly, these early season games against Florida State and Wisconsin, that is friendly for Alabama.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I'm sick and tired of seeing tennis players fall to the ground in disbelief, like they captured the Rubik's Cube here. It's like, take it easy. You won 6-love, 6-2, 6-3. I mean, it's not like it's dramatic. I did that now, did today, but I'm saying, I see that guys do that all the time, and women do that. It's like, relax. You won in straight sets. It was a foregone conclusion an hour ago. Stop pretending like it was a dramatic victory.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
You are going to bank on Luka Doncic, who is a phenomenal talent, but his defense has been questioned, his work ethic, his time has been questioned, and his conditioning has been questioned. Name me one time in his 23-year career that you've questioned one of those 3 things about LeBron James.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Everybody also is going to know the name Yuri Perez next year because Yuri Perez, obviously in fantasy circles, is a guy that we've been excited about for a while. Burst onto the scene a couple years ago, was electric, was fantastic. Then Tommy John, and we've been waiting for him ever since. And, all of a sudden the last couple starts starting to look like the Yuri Perez that I know I was very excited about drafting going into this season. And he has been brilliant.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
welcome back. It is In-Game Live Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Joe, hour number 2 of our 2-hour extravaganza. Full baseball board here. We got a couple of games starting in about 10 minutes. We'll get to those in a second. I did want to throw out, Joe, the Kansas City game, which is interesting because they are leading the Cubbies 7-4. It's a bullpen by committee game by Chicago, which is why they were slight favorites and not the big favorites like they should be, right? So it's just locked up. It was 7-4, and they were giving 13.5 as the total. Top of the 6th inning. There it is again. All right, so listen, the Cubs need 3 runs, right? And that would put it 7-7. So there's your 14. That's one way you can get that. Cubs are in their bullpen, deep into their bullpen. Kansas City generally can't hit the rate of a paper bag, but they do have 7 runs on the board tonight. So you're going to get all 4, at bats here, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th inning, because the Cubs are trailing. I think that's a halfway decent bet, although FanDuel just locked it up again, so back and forth they go. But if they post it back up there it is. I would go over 13 now. I think you get 3 more runs in this game.
Yeah, I do too. And it's only minus 110 to the over, Scott. I think that is a great bet. And the last time we were talking, the Colorado Rockies were leading the St. Louis Cardinals. It's now a tied game, 2-2 apiece, minus 158 on the Cardinals on that money line. That total, like I said, they were reluctant to take it off of the 10.5. They've now fired it all the way up to 11.5, which was the original number at minus 104 to the over. It's the top of the 4th. Do you still think we go over 11.5 runs? I'm not sure if we get there, Scott.
Yeah, I'd take a flyer on St. Louis more than I would the over.
Yeah.
I have no faith in the Rocky bats. I just don't. It's just an anti-Rocky thing. So anytime I can get minus 154 going against Colorado, I'll take it. I will. I know St. Louis is scuffling, but kind of like a moment of truth series for St. Louis. Right? You're losing 3 straight to Arizona. There's got to be a whole lot of soul searching on that flight to Colorado. You just can't lose to the Rockies. So I'll play. These odds are this low all series. I'll play them all series. They're a halfway decent team. So they just haven't been playing great. That's all. Kind of like the Dodgers, tonight, but to a lesser extent. A couple games starting here in a little bit, including Houston and Arizona. Joe, let me run it down. Astros, they've lost 7 of their last 9. Did win yesterday to salvage 1 game in that series against Seattle. They're 57-41. Arizona 49-50, just hovering around that 500 mark as they basically been all season long. Astros got a ton of injuries. We Paredes out, Alvarez out, Pena still all out. They can't hit. So with that said, Zach Gallen on the hill versus Colton Gordon. I think you're going to get some runs, even though the Astros are struggling here a little bit. So give me I won't go with the over. That's already in our 5 on the line. Give me I'll take the Diamondbacks. Maybe, just maybe, this is the streak that they're finally putting things together. 3 straight wins, going for their 4th straight win. And it's minus 142 with Gallen on the hill at home.
I can't trust Zach Allen this season. Zach Allen this season, he's had so many struggles out there. And I do think the Astros, even though they're injured, Scott, have the better bullpen in this matchup. And I think they end up finding a way to get it done. Am I totally confident in the Astros? No, not at all. We're getting them right around that plus 120 mark. So if I had to pick a side, that's where I'd go. But I don't have to pick a side. And I think I'm just going to look at Walker to come out nice and strong for the Astros. His home run coming in at plus 390 actually, and I do think he can hit Zach Allen. So that's about I'm going to target in this one. I wish you the best with the Diamondbacks. I just can't get my money on them tonight, or the Houston Astros, to be honest.
Okay, it's a weird game. It definitely is a weird game. You want to play a prop? Eugene Suarez, 4 home runs in his last 2 games. He hit 2 on Saturday, 2 yesterday. Leads the majors in RBIs with 85. What are they giving us for his home run prop? Let's I don't generally look at these markets too often. I'm guessing about 3-1. Let's see, to hit a home run. Plus 260. Yeah, not even. Plus 260. The Marte listed, so I guess he's back from his little after getting his house burglarized. He missed a couple games over the weekend. So, but yeah, Eugenio Suarez, maybe plus the 260 home run prop for him. The way he's been hitting home runs lately, I would do that. And I don't generally play a home run prop, but I would do it tonight with him.
So he has 35 on the season. We know, like, the Diamondbacks, is he going to be a trade piece, though? Right? Like, if they can't come out here and get the sweep of the Astros, or if they can't win two of the three, are they going to trade away Suarez, do you think? He's worth a lot.
Yeah, it depends on what they get him. I'd have to look up. I know his name has been talked about. I'd have to look up and see what his contract situation is. But Arizona's paid some player. They're not like the Marlins or the Nationals or different teams. And they are kind of like right there. So if let's see what happens this series. Kind of like a make or break. We're getting to that point, right? A week or so before the trade deadline, July 31st. Right now, they are 5 back. 50-50 on the season. They got to catch 1, 2, 3. They got to overtake 4 teams to be in the wild card spot. I don't think they will trade him. Knowing that they had all that success just a couple of years ago in the postseason, I think they're thinking is just get in. You just get in, and we'll take our chances. So I don't think he'll be traded. I don't. So, and hopefully he won't be traded by tonight. So, because we're going to take his plus 260.
Well, yeah, I'm all over it too, Scott. I love that home run prop. I just totally slipped at putting him on my card tonight. So plus 260, great price. 35 home runs already this season. Like, he is just on fire this season for them.
Yeah. I don't know what the number was for him. Does FanDuel have that listed as far as winning the home run? Is that up now? Well, there it is. Home runs. We have that. No. Oh, yeah. He is plus 19 to 1.
Okay.
Judge is still the overwhelming favorite at minus 145. Where do we stand home runs with Judge? I know Raleigh had 38, right? Judge has got to have right around that amount. 36.
Okay.
So Raleigh has 38, Judge 36, Suarez 35. You're giving us 19 to 1 on a guy that's only 3 behind, and Raleigh's the catcher, so you got to figure he's going to slow down some. Judge, he's unbelievable. I get that, but I would take a flyer at 19 to 1. Oh, Ohtani is 6 to 1. How many does Ohtani have?
Wow.
He's got 34. All right, so he's in there. Schwarber is 25 to 1. And he has, how many does he have? He has 32. So I'm going to say Raleigh's not going to win it. So to me, you're looking at Judge. So I would take Suarez Suarez at 19 to 1. I would take, and I'd take a flyer on Schwarber too at 32 to 1.
Yeah. You got to love that plus money on it. I think it's a great way to go, Scott. The Jays with the walk-off win over the Yankees 4 to 1. Man, I can't believe that one didn't go over the total.
Yeah, not a walk-off. They were leading 4 to 1, but yeah, they won. They walk off the field winners, but
walking off the field right now, in the middle of the night, going into the bottom. They're done.
Yes, and you know what that means? That means as we update our wins in the month of July, they now have the most wins in the month of July. They have 13. Red Sox lost. Still got 2 games in hand. You got to, pending the outcome of the Milwaukee Brewers game. So our most wins in the month of July plus 365 bet. We are now in first place. So depending on what happens with Milwaukee. Yeah. So we're looking okay with that. Speaking of the Brewers, Joe, you know what? We got to take a break here, but I'll give you the rundown here. Then you give us our thoughts when we come back. Milwaukee at Seattle. The Brewers have won 10 straight. Seattle had a nice 8-1 overrun. Randy Rosarina, another guy, you want to do a home run prop. 10 home runs in his last 15 games. You got Milwaukee, that's 20-5, their last 25, including that 10 in a row. Woodruff versus George Kirby. We'll get Joe's thoughts on that. That's my STP when we come back, too.
There's a possibility that we could be looking at DeBoer wondering if he's the long-term answer at coach for the Tide?
I'm starting to feel like Alabama, I can't believe I'm saying this, Craig, is a sleeper. Fourth easiest schedule in the SEC this year. Ryan Williams is back. I think the friendly, these early season games against Florida State and Wisconsin, that is friendly for Alabama.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Sick and tired of seeing tennis players fall to the ground in disbelief, like they captured the Rubik's Cube here. It's take it easy. You won 6-love, 6-2, 6-3. I mean, it's not like it's dramatic. I did that now, did today, but I'm saying, I see that guys do that all the time, and women do that. It's relax. You won in straight sets. It was a foregone conclusion an hour ago. Stop pretending like it was a dramatic victory.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
You are going to bank on Luka Doncic, who is a phenomenal talent, but his defense has been questioned, his work ethic, his time has been questioned, and his conditioning has been questioned. Name me one time in his 23-year career that you've questioned one of those three things about LeBron James.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Everybody also is going to know the name Yuri Perez next year because Yuri Perez, obviously in fantasy circles, is a guy that we've been excited about for a while. Burst onto the scene a couple years ago, was electric, was fantastic. Then Tommy John, and we've been waiting for him ever since. And, all of a sudden the last couple stars starting to look like the Yuri Perez that I know I was very excited about drafting going into this season. And he has been brilliant.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live, game day on the grid. Scott and Joe checking out a little baseball. We got the Seattle and Milwaukee, Joe. That's my SGP. We gave that earlier today. We talked about it. Brewers going for their 11th straight win, and they're getting odds. Can it be as simple as Toronto going for their 11th straight home win, which they did get, beating the Yankees 4-1? Did we just play the trends and go at Milwaukee tonight, or do you like a flyer on Seattle, which is 5-1? Mariners playing well as well, their last 6.
They are, but I can't step in front of the Milwaukee Brewers with Brandon Woodruff coming out here to the mound. I think they come out nice and strong here in this matchup, Scott, and are able to get the win. Now, I did look at Brandon Woodruff and George Kirby for their combined strikeouts in this. You have to take them up to 13 plus strikeouts before you're getting the great plus money. That's coming in at plus 148, the 14 plus at plus 225. But you look at them independently, you're going to have to lay juice, especially on Brandon Woodruff to the over on his strikeout. So I do think we see one of these pitchers get 8 strikeouts, the other one gets 7. I think it's a big night, great pitching duel between the two of them. So I'll ride on the 13 plus and the 14 plus strikeouts for a little bit of a sprinkle. The 12 plus strikeouts coming in at minus 114. Probably your safest way to do it. So if you want to just ladder all 3, I completely understand why. And then I would just look at this one. I don't know, Scott, first 5 to the under. I'm not sure if I could go full game to an under with a total of 7, but that first 5 under 3.5, I think looks so solid between these two.
Yeah, I don't like pressing my luck on those under 7s either. I did it early with Pittsburgh and Detroit, so I'd probably stay away from that. Chances are one of these two won't have it. So, I was laughing a little bit there, Joe, when you started talking because I got the Mets game on. And the Mets have runners on second and third with, I think it's 1 out. It's either 1 or none. Yeah, 1 out. Guy hit a shot to right field, decent hit ball, and he gets to the warning track. He's backtracking. He's turning left. He's turning right. He gets to the warning track. He jumps up and falls down and brings his glove down. I don't know what he was doing, but he didn't catch the ball. And the ball ended up ricocheting off the wall. It wasn't even close to being a home run. So it could have been and should have really been caught in the major leagues. But it was just kind of funny how, the right fielder botched that. So Mets have a golden chance to take the lead here. We got another run out of Kansas City and Chicago now, 8-4 Royals. All right, so we're still sitting at 13 and well, they just bumped it to 14.5. We put it in at over 13.5. Top of the 7th inning they go. I'm guessing someone from Kansas City hit a home run. Because now there's a runner on base, maybe not. But anyway, 8-4. So we need a couple more runs for the over on that one. Last game on the board, Dodgers and Minnesota. I get a sense that was your SGP. I get a sense of where you're going with that one. Same thing with me. I like the Dodgers. Dodgers 8-2 their last 10 against the Twins. We all know they're 2-10 their last 12 overall. They're not playing well. Freeman not hitting. Betts not hitting. I get that, but Ohtani's pitching tonight. He's going to go 3, according to Dave Roberts, and then it'll be Dustin May after that. That's not bad, Dustin May. It's not like a bullpen guy. You're just handing it over to another starter. So I think I really do like the Dodgers tonight. It's the Black Cloud play of the day for me. I'm going to lay the wood. Won't fool around with the money line, or with the run line, rather. But I like LA. Minnesota 11-19 their last 30 games. They're not playing well. Just lost 2 or 3 to Colorado. I don't think they're beating the Dodgers tonight.
No, I don't think they're beating the Dodgers either. And I think this is one where I'm kind of cautious of the Dodgers on that run line because I don't like the value you're getting. But I think the first 5 run line definitely I would look at here with the Dodgers. We know their bullpen has had some issues. And I wish, Scott, we could look at Dustin May's props. Like, I wish the books would allow us to bet him once he comes into this game, because I think he's going to come out nice and strong. And I do think he'll get the strikeouts on the board. Maybe FanDuel should have a combined strikeout prop for the full game for a team. That would be nice to see, because I'd definitely be betting it to the over in this one. I think Ohtani probably surprises us a little bit with how long he stays in. We did see him with 4 strikeouts versus the Giants, and that's why I really did target him inside my parlay to go over the 3.5. But outside of it, I did alt him to 5+ strikeouts at +220. If he stays, even in the third, we could see him come up with that number of 5, Scott. The 6+ is a reach at +490. The 7+ is a reach as well at +1,500. But I tell you, it's Ohtani, and there's going to be one of these games where we're all going to be sitting there wishing we had altered his lines. And I think what I'm going to do with him is just put a little sprinkle, not a full unit on that ladder, maybe a half a unit on that ladder until we start seeing him out. Now, if it takes all the way to September, that's going to take a long time. But if we get the 5 strikeouts tonight, we're playing with a little bit of house money at the +220 mark, Scott.
All right. Angels being the Angels, throwing the ball around, allowed the Mets to score, had a runner at home plate, dead to rights, catcher dropped the ball. So Mets lead 6-5. Yeah, it's the Ohtani thing. We talked about this with George, right? I mean, it is kind of weird. You don't want to send the guy down to the minors, especially now the way the Dodgers are playing. You need every hot bat in the world. And, you send him down to the minors and do his normal rehab. Well, then you don't have him, could you go back and forth? I suppose, but that's a lot of travel, right? He's going to hop on a plane every 3 days and go back down to the minor leagues to go pitch, 6-7 innings like he should be versus, staying up in the majors. It's kind of weird. So I'll stay away from his props. But I will tell you this, Milwaukee, they are, they were among the league leaders in strikeouts, but I don't see them anymore. So they're middle of the pack. Oh no, Minnesota. What am I saying? Milwaukee. I'm looking for Minnesota. Minnesota's at 14th in strikeouts. So middle of the pack. They do strike out a lot. Enough where you get Ohtani to get 3 or 4, even if he only goes, like you said, 3 innings. So they throw first pitch here in a little bit. All right, so the Mets have grabbed the lead. Cardinals have grabbed the lead over Colorado. 3-2, bottom of the 5th inning. Now they're minus 220 favorites. The Rockies +168. This will be one game in which I won't hedge. You know what? I'm just going to ride out Colorado, or ride out St. Louis. I think the Cardinals are going to win. They have to win. Maybe if they grab a 6-2 lead, maybe I'd hedge just a little bit if they're going to give me Joe 8 or 9-1, but I'm not going to hedge at +168. I'll take my chances. St. Louis wins.
Yeah, they have to win this one, right? Versus the Colorado Rockies. I'm completely with you. We've seen the Diamondbacks already put a run on the board over the Houston Astros. They're up 1-0 here at the bottom of the first, Scott. So it looks like you're on the right side of this one.
Yeah. All right, quick little break, then we'll wrap up shop. In-game live game day on a Monday evening right here on the Grid.
Do you think that there's a possibility that we could be looking at the board wondering if he's the long-term answer at coach for the Tide?
I'm starting to feel like Alabama, I can't believe I'm saying this, Craig, is a sleeper. Fourth easiest schedule in the SEC this year. Ryan Williams is back. I think the friendly, these early season games against Florida State and Wisconsin, that is friendly for Alabama.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Sick and tired of seeing tennis players fall to the ground in disbelief, like they captured the Rubik's Cube here. It's take it easy. You won 6-love, 6-2, 6-3. I mean, it's not like it's dramatic. I did today, but I'm saying, I see that guys do that all the time, and women do that. It's like, relax. You won in straight sets. It was a foregone conclusion an hour ago. Stop pretending like it was a dramatic victory.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
You are going to bank on Luka Doncic, who is a phenomenal talent, but his defense has been questioned, his work ethic, his time has been questioned, and his conditioning has been questioned. Name me one time in his 23-year career that you've questioned one of those three things about LeBron James.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Everybody also is going to know the name Yuri Perez next year because Yuri Perez, obviously in fantasy circles, is a guy that we've been excited about for a while. Burst onto the scene a couple years ago, was electric, was fantastic. Then Tommy John, and we've been waiting for him ever since. And, all of a sudden the last couple starts starting to look like the Yuri Perez that I know I was very excited about drafting going into this season. And he has been brilliant.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Joe closing up shop. Adam and George at the top of the hour. How about that? Broken clock twice a day is right, Joe. We'll write it off to that. We gave out the Cincinnati and Washington over-under. It was 18.5 in the fifth inning or so. I didn't think they would get there. We took the under. Then they had a bunch of runs scored. I said, let's go for a middle. We took over 17.5. Really, I did it to get out of the 18.5 bet. But I said, all right, at least we have a one-run middle that maybe, just maybe, because they were giving us odds on the over 17.5. So we weren't really risking anything, right? So lo and behold, the Reds scored 2 runs at the top of the ninth inning, and the game ends 10-8, and we middled it. We hit both. We hit the under 18.5, and we hit the over 17.5. How about that?
It just absolutely beautiful hedge or bet there, Scott, with the middle. I can't believe you're able to nail that exactly with the Reds getting those 2 runs. So congratulations. Pretty impressed right now.
Yeah, it doesn't happen too often,
No.
But it did tonight. So not bad. Not bad. We gave out a few winners today. We really did. A whole bunch of them. Toronto. We gave out St. Louis when they were down. We've given out a few. The Metsies when they were down. So Mets scored again, by the way. They're now leading 7-5. So top of the ninth inning, they go 7-5 over the Angels. We got no runs in the first inning. It's kind of a weird you didn't get any strikeouts, Joe, out of Woodruff and Kirby. And what's really weird is Kirby only needed 4 pitches. Woodruff only needed 4 pitches to get out of the bottom of the first for Milwaukee. I mean, I would think a guy like Woodruff, who was, fresh back from, being off for a year and a half, you wonder how long he's going to be in there. That, maybe the idea is to make him work a little bit, use up his pitch counts. But clearly that's not the thinking with Seattle. 4 pitches in the first inning only, and no case, unfortunately.
Yeah, really interesting that neither of the pitchers were able to get any strikeouts on the board. So if your book is offering live strikeout props, I would still look to the over. Both of them were juiced to the over 5.5, and I'm sure that number has probably dropped to a 5. But we're seeing bottom of the second right now, and you were getting the Milwaukee Brewers at plus 120. It leads me to believe someone may be on base. No one is out on base for the Seattle Mariners, so it's still sitting there. And that total, Scott, look how low it is now, 5.5. Man, I'm tempted to take that to the over. It's plus 102. These pitchers are going to be solid, though, in the first 5 innings, so I'd probably wait a little bit.
Yeah, 3.5 for me is my major number. Let it get at this rate. If they dropped it a full run and a half through just 1 inning, they're an inning and a half anyway. They're looking to move that thing lower. So if you get through 3, it'll certainly be no worse 4.5. But it might even be after 3.5 innings, it might be 3.5. Then I would start thinking, okay, there are not a lot of games that don't have at least 4 runs. But if they're cruising, then hold off. The first sign of okay, something cracking, then I would go over. But I would wait, even though that 5.5 is obviously very, very tempting. So Diamondbacks scored. Don't tell me it was a Suarez home run. That would be funny if it was. They have 3 hits. Let's check the box score.
So. Because I tailed you on it as soon as you said it.
Yeah, no, he's 0 for 1. Looked like it was RBI hit by Corbin Carroll. So, single to right. Marte scored. So Gallen's got a strikeout, and nothing out of Gordon so far. So 1-0 Arizona. White Sox still 8-2 over the Devil Dogs. Nothing happening there with your club, unfortunately. Texas. We haven't talked too much about Texas. Leading the A's 5-2, top of the 7th inning. Over under there was 8.5. It's up to 10.5 now. A's do have runners on first and second, and looks like one, maybe nobody out in that. You grab the A's plus 370. You think they can get a couple of runs across the board here? They got a couple on with nobody out. Top of the 7th. Ranger bullpen is in play.
Yeah,
they give me 2.5, but it's minus 172, so I wouldn't go there. It would either be 370 or nothing, or maybe the over.
Maybe the over 10.5. We've got 7 runs, Scott, top of the 7th with 2 runners out for the A's. Yeah, I would look at the over 10.5. That's coming in at minus 102, but I hear you plus 2.5 at minus 172. Unbettable.
Yeah, can't do that. So, all right. So we need the Cardinals to hold on, leading 3-2, top of the 6th inning. We need the Dodgers. We need the Brewers. We're on the PP, the public parlay. With Philadelphia winning. Atlanta's still 9-4, and the Mets are 7-5. So, Joe, great job as always. Good luck with the rest of your plays. Adam and George coming up next, right here on the Grid.